Hi everyone, welcome back to Mirrorman. I'm your host, Boss, and this is my brother again who's back. You must have seen him once. His name is Maki. My brother, thank you very much for coming back.
Thank you. It's good to be here again.
Yeah, it's good to
Good
be
to
here.
be here.
It's funny you said you don't even know why you're here again.
I wanted to know why. Why were we here?
I think I also don't know why I'm here again.
Mm.
That's why I never really have the direction, because to me this is it's like an adventure all the time. I love it, but I don't think, personally I don't really like the whole talking and the whole repetition of things. But what I'm talking about seems to be everlastingly new. So it's always a pleasure coming back and talk about the same thing in as many different ways as possible. So thank you very much for coming. Perhaps that's what's happening with you as well.
Yes. No, absolutely. I walked away with quite a lot in the last section, which really reflected a lot in the self-discovery. There's many questions that were answered in just the conversation. So I guess that's you cannot get enough of discovering yourself, I would say. Because there's always layers and layers and layers of
the endless layers.
Very endless layers. And as you discover this, it's like, tastes like lemons, and then you throw away.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on the freshness of this, in us being here again. It always feels new, right? As in the example I'm giving, that it feels like, I've never seen this chapter. Does it really? Is it part of this book? No.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Do you have any specific direction you can give? Any inspiration? Any idea of how we should start this?
Yeah. In the last session, right, what stood out for me was the the mystery of creation, in understanding it fully as it happens. And you reflected that for me quite well, experientially, as we were in that session. So I'm still intrigued by creation as it is. Like, it's the same question that I posted, that why are we here? Why am I here? I'm segmenting again, but it's 2 months ago that we had a chat, and we've had different attempts to get together, and but here we are again. And what is it, in relation to this, the first part?
The first part,
and what is this a continuation of in relation to creation? Or where are we, or where is this discussion in relation to creation? And because of the understanding that creation is whole, if you know what I mean.
No, I get. I think I see what you're trying to point out. Could we ask, could we put it this way? Is creation... We were here 2 months ago.
Yes.
Was that moment any different from this moment?
Not at all.
Experientially,
no.
Yeah. Yet it feels different. I mean,
Yes. You can. Yes.
So how is that related to creation? Perhaps I think. Okay. So let's talk about creation.
Yes.
Last time when I was talking, when I rewatched the video. First, that's a very arduous task for me actually to rewatch the thing, and it so happened that I have someone who helps me do the editing sometimes.
Yes.
But most of the time, it's as I'm listening to it, I kind of pick up what's really resonating with what is happening at the moment. So I get involved in the whole editing at time.
Okay.
And it's a very arduous task because I hate repetition.
Yes.
But as I'm doing it, there's another sort of magic that happened. So one thing I noticed when we were talking, you are most of the time listening. Even in your talking, in your way of talking, there's a lot of silence in between. And I think that is that's a good quality. Listening and then silence. So I think before talking about creation, can we start with what is it to listen? And then what is that silence? And then perhaps it is related to creation. So what is listening? For example, how... Because I think most people don't listen. They talk too much, even within themselves.
Correct.
Because I mean, as I'm talking to you, there's a lot of interpretation going, understanding the language. That's talking. Thinking is talking, You're talking to yourself. So you absorb, you translate, you understand, and then you project what you will be saying.
Yes.
In that, there's very little space for listening.
It's true.
It's too fast.
It's very fast-paced.
So, what is listening to you?
It's a good question. It's a good question. So, what is listening? Listening is paying attention. Being attentive. Right? And then being attentive is absence of thought. Right? Because when you are listening to someone talking and you are already interpreting what they are saying, that's not listening, because you'll inevitably interfere when they are talking, because already you are interpreting what they are saying, concluding answers and all of that. So you have answers on your tongue tip.
Yeah.
Right? That's not listening. So listening is silence, meaning you have to mute thought. Be watchful of thought as it comes and goes, and play tricks and say, but you didn't eat breakfast, or this is boring or whatever. So you need to keep it on a leash, that you then pay attention, almost, be one with creation. I don't know if that's tricky to understand, but here creation create.
See creation.
And then be part of that frontier, and that is paying attention. That's like meaning you are then silenced. You give everything a time and chance to play out, so that you can then be part of the play. So listening is really getting rid of knowledge, everything that you've known, and listening to everything anew, which talks to what you were talking about, saying this interaction almost feels very new every time. So it will feel like that only if you are paying attention.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
If you leave the burdens of yesterday.
Correct. And come here and say, born again, and let's then see things as they are new, as they unfold, and not be in illusions in terms of, So really the absence of thought is listening.
Yeah. So let's split it.
Yes.
We are experts in splitting things. There's the physical listening.
Yes.
Right? The whole
yes.
interaction with
what
noises,
is going on.
The sound itself.
Yes.
And then that interaction triggers memory.
Yes.
That memory then is the interpreter.
Correct.
Right? You're saying microphone.
Yes.
You hear the sound of it. Without even, it's very fast, and then you interpret it according to the knowledge you have.
Who made it? What qualities?
What is it, and so on.
Yeah.
But before me saying microphone, you weren't really paying attention to this microphone. You were paying attention to some other knowledge. Right. So there's the physical listening of it. The physical listening of it, you wouldn't be aware of it without the interpretation. So in a way, you hear me talking, attention, through that attention, there's some sort of silence, some sort of nothingness.
Yes. That's listening.
It's you are not there, because all that is there is what is happening.
Correct.
The sound of it and so on. Now, that triggers you now, which is thought, knowledge.
Then you jump in and throw things.
And then you pay attention to the microphone and so on. So that's one side of listening, the physical side of it, and how it interferes with the so-called insight, which is a thought process. Now let's flip it around. Listening inside yourself, within yourself. Now the thought process. Now, you can listen out here to what is going on.
Yes.
You hear it.
Yes.
You listen, and then you interpret. But you can also do the same thing within yourself.
You're right.
Right. So.
Yes. Similar movements.
The amazing thing about that, the inside one, is very interesting. The listening is the seeing within yourself.
Can you repeat that?
Okay, look at it this way.
Yes.
Say right now there's some thought process going on in your mind, right?
Yes.
If you look at it, if you try to listen to yourself, isn't that looking within yourself?
You're right.
So there's no separation between listening and seeing.
And seeing, yes. You're right.
So it's almost as if it's one movement. It's just attention that is happening.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think that is listening. There's some sort of silence that is present, which we call attention. That is part of the listening. And then it triggers you, thoughts, knowledge. And then we have all that interaction and so on. That's what makes civilization possible and so on. So why is it so hard to listen? I mean, it's very quick. Would you say it's quick, right? The listening part is very quick.
Yes.
But the interpretation and the talking, that's, you're used to it.
Yes.
And you're comfortable with it, isn't it?
Yes.
But that silence, you're not so comfortable with it. You want to run away from it as fast as you can.
Yes. But do we really know, what is silence? Meaning, why are we running from it? Are we running from it knowingly or unknowingly? Because
You see, the silence is not knowing.
Right.
That's why you are listening.
Okay. Yes.
That silence is broken down through knowledge. When you know now,
Yes.
there's no longer silence.
Okay.
So you're uncomfortable with not knowing.
And it's scary.
I mean, right now as we're talking, when there's this silence, you don't know what to do with it.
You always want to fetch something and, try and, bring it into,
Yeah.
And in certain cases where, knowledge is abundant, there isn't even a second of silence in the interaction of people. It's like before you finish your sentence, I'm already on top of you with another
Perhaps
idea.
even project what I'm going to say.
Exactly.
Before I say it.
Right.
So you predict what will be said.
Yes.
So in a way, you listen to the side. There's a listening.
Yes.
And then the listening being too big, knowledge comes into play and say, okay, this is what will be happening. So you are predicting what will happen.
Yes. Yes.
Because you are unsure, you are uncomfortable with that sort of silence.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So where is that uncomfortability coming from?
Isn't it that we feel that we will sort of disappear without knowledge, because you surrender everything in silence, in terms of if you understand just that quality.
Do you understand that quality, or the understanding comes afterward? Because understanding implies...
It's just the movement. Understanding is the movement.
Would you say understanding is a movement, is the first contact, the first movement away from that silence?
No. I think understanding grounds you in the silence. Right?
But okay, let's look at understanding. When you when you understand something, you must first see it.
Right.
For me to understand you, I must first listen. The understanding seems to be a bit late.
Right.
It's like the residue of the silence.
Yes. Right.
Yet that understanding can never be complete.
And that's what you're attracted to every time, isn't it?
Yeah, you run away from it. The running away from it is what you call understanding. Going back to it is when you are not. Right?
Yes.
So that is listening, that whole movement of not being there and then being there. That sort of dance.
Okay.
Right? You listen to me and then I listen to you, that sort of dance. And really, it's in that way then what we mean is, what would that mean is all of us are second-hand human beings. Whatever that I am is what you are giving me.
Okay, what you're reflecting.
What I'm reflecting.
Yes, and all of that is like ping pong of knowledge.
Yeah, it's a ping pong. There's no such a thing as an individual.
Yes. And
I'm listening.
Yes.
I am what you give me.
Yes.
I am what I see. I am not just between people, the whole of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am this.
As it happens.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and that is uncomfortable.
And then your question is valid. Why?
Because that's why. If it wasn't uncomfortable, people wouldn't be walking around saying me.
It's true.
I.
Yeah.
Do you know who I am?
I know, it's true. It's true.
So we give tremendous importance to me. I am the center.
And only if you step out of that and see the immensity of the whole or creation, then you see.
Yeah, you step. Probably it happens naturally. The fear of it makes you go away from it. So I would say the first. I mean, you can't run away from something if you're not afraid.
It's true. So what the question still remains. I mean, what should be done then for one to face it, because it's really facing it. You are saying
for one to be it, literally.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to put it.
You know, because that's really what everybody is looking for. If you think about it.
Yeah, if everybody probably is looking for it.
Yes.
But in different manners.
Correct. Like
some looking for it in politics.
Some
in religions.
Yes.
Some in art.
Yes.
You know, some in arguments, some in abusive behavior.
Yes.
Anything.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for. When you're not there, everything else is trouble. Because literally the first movement away from it is fear.
True.
That's the creation of, relating to what we're saying, creation. Anything that comes out of that is creation. Is being created.
Yes. So then if fear is the culprit, you know.
Yeah, so then let's look what is fear.
Yeah.
How does fear arise?
Right. So let's make a simple example, a snake. All right. You are walking in the woods and then it just comes and say, hello.
Yeah.
And you freak out. That's the first thing, you know. Or even if you, well, yeah. And in freaking out, what makes you freak out? Because it's just another creature.
Yeah.
Right? And it's probably minding its own business. Right? But you would freak out because you've got knowledge that it's going to bite you, or it's got this and that and that and that. Right? So in the instance where you see the snake and then you understand the place of knowledge that it's a dangerous snake, it will do this and that and that, and you don't then go play with it, because you know that's intelligence is telling you this is going to, you know, and then from there, in that understanding, that is, you can then cohabit with it, I suspect.
You will do the right action, probably.
Exactly. So if it then, you know, acts in a violent way, or in a way that then you will do the right actions, run, or then become violent and kill it, or whatever it is, isn't it? So then, let's say you run.
You might, as you're running, probably you're thinking it's following.
Yes, yeah, it's following me, right?
So you see, even after the act,
yes,
you're running away from the danger. The moment itself is kept in there. And you're probably projecting a snake running towards you.
Correct. Even in your dreams.
Creating another, creating another. So prolonging fear. Long after the action. So in that sense, you can see that fear, at the moment of action, as anything is happening, as you are discovering, as you are seeing creation, because you're walking around and then you see a snake coming out of nowhere, that is creation. It's a moment that is
correct,
coming out of nowhere.
Correct.
Almost.
Yeah.
Now, at that moment, there's no fear. There's just seeing.
Correct. Then
fear comes afterward when you know the danger of what is there.
Correct. You fetch knowledge now.
Yeah, you fetch knowledge. You know, there's my aunt, she gave birth last week. So I went to look at, that was, she told me, she knows a lot of kids. She calls me, she's like, come and meet your cousin. And to me already that was, today I'm going to see a baby.
Yeah.
It was a miracle really.
Mm.
So I was very, very excited. I get there, the baby was literally 1 day old. So I'm looking at the baby. I spent there maybe about 4 or 5 hours, but I think I must have spent 3.5 hours just looking at the baby, being amazed.
Yeah.
And at times just being worried of how people are going to think I'm some sort of weirdo, Because it's not, I wouldn't call that behavior normal.
Yeah.
But
it's paying attention.
Yeah.
It's
I
paying
looked at that
attention.
baby, I just wanted to find,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how amazing that whole phenomenon was.
Yeah.
How intelligent that baby is.
I can imagine that.
I think we say intelligence is, having a lot of knowledge in these books. Right? You've memorized maybe 4 or 5 languages, good mathematics, good computer skills. That's what we call intelligence. But I think to me, I just call that knowledge. Very important. We can't do without it. But intelligence, what allows that to be gathered is way more important.
Yes.
And that's exactly what that baby had.
All in one.
Every other second. So for instance...
The entire process actually, from conception and,
There's so much intelligence that was going on. So at some point I'm having a conversation with my aunt, and then she loved. So she was a little bit loud. And the baby, just freaked out a little bit. So to him, I don't know if we should qualify that as fear, but there's an action. So he's constantly listening, right? He's discovering the whole thing every time. Probably, he's already started the gathering process. Maybe even in the mother's belly, hearing, the whole
kick in the belly,
the DNA, the whole thing of, because when he comes out, he definitely knows how to get his food. So there's some sort of knowledge that is happening
already.
But most of the time, he's really just learning. He's paying attention. He's looking. At some point, I'm looking at him. I just put my hand on top of him. I'm moving. He can't see, but he can feel
it. Yes, isn't it?
So when I'm doing this, he's following with his eyelids and so on. There's no time that I did it that he wasn't following. So he's not thinking about any business. He's not thinking about any food that should be coming. He is just living in the moment. And I was just very amazed by that. So I think that is listening.
Then it gets contaminated.
Fear isn't part of that. Fear comes only when you move away from that. When you've gathered something, an action happens, it you meet creation, and then the interpretation of that, because the creation is always new, right? You never really know it. So it kind of scares you a little bit. But the contact with it is always, it has to happen. It has to happen first of all. So what is fear? Psychological fear. Let's leave the outside, because you wouldn't be thinking about the danger of a snake if you haven't seen it. So the physical seems to be just intelligence happening, acting. The gathering is the fear.
Perhaps maybe if you can clarify the two experiences we've shared in the snake and the baby, there's an element of fear that was presented in the experience, right? That both the snake and the baby. So the snake would register and keep in memory. Does the baby then also register it and keep in memory, or is it just happens and it's gone and it's back to listening?
Back to listening. I doubt he's ever left listening. Because he gets scared,
and it doesn't register that.
When I get scared, but you get scared. The other second, I know it. So the baby is experiencing creation of fear itself. So it seems like looking at creation itself, creates fear. The first contact we have with creation is fear.
It's fear. And then that is then the trajectory away from listening.
Yeah.
So you are saying then, let's look at psychological fear.
Yes, with the center.
Yes.
Because if there's a way we can completely annihilate the center, then creation is there.
Yes. That's the only thing remains, isn't
That's
it?
the only thing that remains. There's no more movement. Because as long as there's a center, if you put this center, then there's all these different possibilities. But if this isn't there, the whole thing is complete. So this center here, this thing of me. I. And probably, I think most people give it a lot of importance because of it's trying to make a copy of the thing. Me is trying to copy the entirety of the thing.
Okay.
It's seeking power. That's why you see if someone is really very self-centered, give him enough time and resources, he's going to be a good dictator.
I think it's important to put a magnifying glass on that, because it's really what is causing chaos in the world, if you know what I mean. We all are in the pursuit of that which is eternal, right? And in the same journey, we then come to a glimpse of it, right? And then in coming to a glimpse of it, and then we come to cut and paste. And then everybody must know that, I've got this glimpse of it, you must come and fit into this cut and paste.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. If you structure this, structure that. So, is that fear that causes that you then want to, amplify what you've seen or what you know, as because what I mean is, you have creation and or listening, right? And fear comes in, and it then displaces you from and then no, it doesn't displace you. You see an experience listening, and then you go and cut that segment and say, I've seen this, and then you then create a movement out of that, right? Where is fear in that? Because fear moves you away from creation, right? And as an individual, say, I know this because I've seen this, and then you say, you create the I in terms of group or whatever, structure that you then start outside of creation, right? What is the place of fear in you continuing with that structure, if you know what I mean? We spoke about religion the last time, and in speaking about it is exactly what I'm talking about. To say, certain discoveries were made, and then that segment has been created, and that movement continues. And is that the basis of fear? Because that movement is not creation.
It's not creation.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so where is the place of what is the place of fear in creating a movement separate from creation?
I think the best way to discover this, first of all, let's say we don't know.
Yes.
We're trying to find out something.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's stay with that listening.
Yes.
Actually, not
Yes.
not just theorize about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Say for instance, right now you look within yourself, right? When there isn't thought, do you see a sort of emptiness?
I experience it and I can live it.
Yeah, so there seems to be some sort of emptiness. I mean,
Yes.
you don't know what to do with it.
No. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
The first movement away from that is thought.
Right.
Now, that's what we're talking. The movement away from creation, from that, is fear,
Yes.
what we call outside here. But it's really the same equation.
Yes.
There's that sort of silence within.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. I mean, it seems boring. You don't know what to do with it.
It's true.
So the self comes out of that.
Yeah.
But what is that self, that center?
Yes.
Because that sound that you're hearing, the interpretation, all that, is, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that thought?
Mm.
If it isn't for, I mean, can you think of something else than what you've experienced?
No, you can't. It's impossible.
So
Yeah.
what you've experienced is comfortable.
Yeah.
But what you haven't experienced, what you don't know, what you can't really say I'm
Okay,
experiencing
okay.
it. It's empty. And it's uncomfortable. So any escape is good.
Oh, and there's so many.
any escape is good.
Yeah.
To stand there, I mean, you are not there. Have proof of yourself only when you move away from
Yes,
that.
yes.
That's
But-
why we're calling it creation, because the movement away from that is now when you say I am, or
Okay.
thinking is
Okay.
there.
Okay. Okay.
So basically what we're trying to say is, why is it hard to stay with that silence?
Yes.
That emptiness.
Yes. Yes. And not move away from it.
Mm. Why do we want something to be?
Are we not conditioned to always occupy, and
Yeah,
be busy?
There's a big
and-
conditioning happening
Yeah.
for sure. But then why did it start? It's good
Yeah.
to put the blame on our parents.
But is it not part of creation also?
Anything away from that is creation. The process of moving away from that is creation. Now we want to replicate that by creating this.
Uh-huh.
But for us to create this, we have to think about it.
Yes.
And thought comes out of that emptiness.
Emptiness, yes.
So, thought realizes that if it's serious enough, it
Yeah.
can look at it
Yeah.
and see the immensity of it and try to figure out which is what we're trying to do. But
Yeah.
most of the time, you don't even want to go back. I mean, you focus here.
Yeah.
Focus on the problems,
Yeah.
you complain about them without realizing you're creating them because you don't want to be there.
There.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you can't even isolate from the problems.
Yeah.
It's like
I'd
it's part
rather
of- yeah.
I'd rather remember my
Mm.
childhood trauma or my wife's betrayal than stay there. This I can
Replay.
deal with.
Yeah. It's-
Not that.
Yeah, this is tangible.
Yeah, it's
I've
tangible.
experienced this.
Because I can move it around.
Yeah.
I can change. I can recreate.
Yes.
But creation is, I have no control.
So the lack of control is the daunting part.
Yeah, see, the lack of control, that's why it's very interesting. That is power.
The lack of control.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is power.
Absolute, actually.
So here you want the control to replicate that.
And it cannot.
It's the denial of power.
Right?
Mm.
Jeez. But, yo.
So you see that, I mean, can you see that something you can't touch? That is powerful. You can't come anywhere close to it. It isn't, don't think about it.
Yes.
See it.
and feel it and just flow with it.
Now you come out, that's within yourself.
Yes.
It's the same thing that is going on here.
Yeah.
What is this? You can't say anything about this. I mean, you can be clever, say this is space, this is my hand, label it, identify it, but really you don't know what the heck is this. So you know what we do? Thought has found a way to run away from that, even this, the actuality of this. So we create distractions.
Okay.
We dive into our own thoughts through technology, you know, through anything, through eating, overeating, you know, anything really. So, intelligence is staying with that. Staying with that, anything that comes out of that. So seeing, you know, when there's the actual contact, when you are that,
yes,
anything that you recreate coming out of that is orderly.
Right?
There's no conflict in it.
It's true. There's no space between creation and... Oh, how... Yeah. It's a... How do you then get one to understand that which you are saying?
I think you start with thought.
Right?
Start with thought. Look, I mean, we've had a discussion, so it's easy.
Yeah.
But the normal day-to-day person, not that we're not normal, but someone who hasn't really looked too much into it.
Yeah.
I think you start with general things, because he's going to come with conflict.
Yeah.
He'll tell you about something that he's hitting some sort of wall.
This is true.
And then you give normal advice, you know, or you can fix this, or what is it, maybe a family issue, tell him, do this. I mean, you're acting from that, right?
Okay.
And then he goes, hits the wall again and so on. So perhaps, you know, maybe he's, you know, when you're faced with conflict, something you can't jump.
Yes.
You are listening now, because you want to find out how to deal with this.
Yes, there's tremendous attention. Yeah.
So you start rationally talk.
Yeah.
If he's willing to listen, then maybe he can listen to himself.
Yeah.
Now you see, the thing is, that's like you taking your friend and then leaving him right in the middle of the ocean.
Swim,
and he's never swum before.
And then that's what freaks people out. And then they say, no, I can't do it. Leave me on the shore. Yeah, life is good here.
He's going to say, what are we talking about?
Right?
So that is creation, the entirety of it.
Here's a question, because obviously when you understand in the example that you're giving that, you know, this is all you can do, right? What is the danger in that? Because, you know...
the danger to who?
Put it this way. I'm trying to, you know, for us to see things as they are, in a sense that you have creation, okay? And then you are saying that creation, when you are tapped into that quality, everything that you output is going to be healing. You know, so when you are sort of in and out of creation, but you know.
That's your anchor.
Yes.
When your anchor is there.
Yes.
So it's like, literally, it's like, the rock in Russian. Thought is some sort of wave,
just a wave
keep
comes,
on hitting, but everything comes out of there and it dies in it. So you have your anchor there.
Okay.
I don't see anything that can really trouble you
when you are there.
Yeah. So the same way you are seeing, it isn't that you are doing creation, you're seeing creation, and by seeing it, you are it. So the same way you are seeing disorder here, and what is not that. So the rejection of disorder is
It's
bringing some sort of order. Yeah.
Naturally, and
Yeah.
that's creation.
Yeah. There is the seeing of your own disorder, your own
Yeah.
limits,
Yes.
brings you back to order.
Yes.
And then the creation part of it. So it's an eternal.
Yes.
There's no time involved in it.
No.
It's a bit tricky to
Mm.
explain, but there's no time involved in it. So I think that's what I consider creation.
Mm.
But you see, it's easy to talk about it, but extremely hard to be with it,
To
to see it,
grasp, yes.
to stay with it.
Yes. But is it do we stay with it, or we are it, right? Just
When you're there, when you're there,
Yes.
you are that.
Yeah.
You are everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the brain. You see,
Yeah.
right now we're talking. It's only when I mention your ankles that you are feeling it, you are
Yes.
you are picturing it. So the brain is like always narrowing down the entirety of the whole thing.
Mm.
It's only
Mm.
when you pay attention to something that there's a center now.
Mm. Mm.
So literally, that's why I call this thing mirror mind.
Yes.
The whole thing is kind of like really mirroring itself.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever looked at animals or dogs. They always mirror themselves.
Yes.
You know, one scratches here,
Yeah.
the other one 2 seconds after it's scratching. That's what we
Yeah.
do also, human beings.
Yeah.
You know, you don't pay attention, someone yawns there,
Yes.
you just pick it up and you yawn.
Yes.
So you are not separate, you are that. You are getting some sort of feedback from everything that is happening. That's what you call me.
Yes.
Me, without realizing that you aren't there. There isn't an entity.
Right.
So in creation, there's the realization that you aren't there.
Then you just flow. Right?
See, it's very subtle because, take an example, see that red box there. See what's written there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can you've already read it. You can't. You never look at a box for what it is. You read streamer. There's already streamer X coming there.
Yes.
That's your conditioning knowledge.
Mm.
You look at this mic. What's there already? You see -3. You know.
Yeah.
So that's how fast it is. The knowledge,
Yeah.
the interference with that.
Yeah.
So you're not able to see that
Entirety
creation
of-
is here.
Because then you are just looking
Because
at
you're
segments
always-
of creation.
You're looking
not
at
just-
yourself
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
So one question I always ask myself: why all this? Why does it have? I mean, it's so complex when you talk about it like this. It is so mysterious, and it's almost as if it is running away from it. That's where the mystery comes from. This is the escape from itself in a way. And it's just reflecting in every other thing, you know, how animals hide, how we pretend, how one moment you think this, you say that, and you do that. Everyone is pretending.
Yes.
You are fighting truth. It's like, guys, generally we like looking at things.
Yes.
You look at a beautiful girl, you look at her, she looks at you, then you pretend as if you're not looking at her. You know?
It's true.
You're pretending.
Yeah.
You're lying.
Yes.
You're running away from the truth.
Yes.
Call it everything. White lies, big lies. We're always lying.
Yeah. So is that part of the game, though?
Yeah, it's the running away from it.
Yeah. You know, um, I'm old, right? And in being old, there's been experience, right? And in all the experience, I've seen the futility of running away, you know, through my life, obviously towards the later end of life. So, in seeing the futility of running away from it, one then discovers the space, and then you get grounded, and it becomes a way of life, etc., etc. So you are saying, when one is one with creation, then what happens?
When creation is.
Yes. You've seen it in the example of that,
Wave.
yes, you've seen that, and as the wave comes, you already know the precision of how long they will take.
Yeah.
And don't worry, it's gonna go this way. Stay in your right.
That's exactly what happens. You know exactly how tall the wave will be,
yes,
how long it will be,
yes,
what's a wave,
yes,
because you're creating it.
Yes.
And it isn't a metaphor.
Yeah.
It's in a day-to-day action.
Everyday action. As you wake up,
Yeah,
in
you've
relationships,
seen-
actually, also it plays out.
You've seen order, so you leave order.
Right?
That's exactly what happened. Not imagine it.
No.
Step by step.
Order. And even if you get displaced.
Yeah, momentarily a shock can happen.
Yes,
You get displaced,
yes.
but you were shocked before the shock.
Isn't it?
So there's no shock.
There's no shock, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a memory coming in, and you drop it again. Another one comes, and then it's just a play.
Yeah.
Until you die.
Until you die. I mean, is there even death now? We're not death. That is meaningless.
Right?
But I mean, creation is death.
Right?
Death is meaningless. So in a way, it's like you're in a prison. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in a prison of following order.
Right?
So a man who doesn't see order is fighting order, is disorderly.
Right?
Yeah. Until he sees order and there's no rest.
Right? And that becomes your life. So you can live 80 years.
Most likely until the last second.
And you've never touched order.
And then you go.
That's not living. Eh?
But that's our lives.
It continues, yeah. I mean, with all the material, you see people with everything that you can ask for, but still there's so much disorder in.
I've been blessed enough to be with all sort of people.
Yes.
Rich, poor, very rich, very poor.
Yes.
I've had a taste of everything, pretty much. And I tell you that I don't see any difference.
It's the same.
Deep down,
it's the same.
Same thing.
It's the same psychological challenges. That's the layer that we don't see, in this pursuit, if you know what I mean. Because
so it's like we are not serious.
No, really. I mean, if you really understand what we are talking about here, you will really.
It's a fire within yourself. You can't.
It's like
you see, so you have to solve it.
It's like living, living in a house while it's on fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you say, "No, I'm used to this." It happens. It's like, "Oh, give me water. We'll just."
You watch TV of the lake. You say, "No, there's no fire. There's a lake there."
Or you have tools to really just, make sure that the fire doesn't come to your space.
Yeah, but the heat is coming. I mean, so we are not serious.
What will make us serious? Because, I mean, when we are serious, there's harmony in the world. You won't have all these fightings and wars that we have. you know.
What will make
Yeah.
that serious? I don't know. I mean, probably death. When you're facing death,
Yeah.
that's inevitable. It will come.
Yeah.
At that last second, you will be serious. You run in every direction. You
Right.
create your gods there, but
Mhm.
really, you're serious. You will know the truth that I really don't know what's about to happen.
Yes.
For that second, you'll be serious.
Yeah. And then just surrender and say,
Mm.
let it be.
Yeah, but you've left a disorder for yourself behind.
Yes.
You might have worked very hard to secure your descendants'
Yes. Yes.
lifestyle,
Yes.
but you've never given them anything really.
You know, you're leaving them empty. They
Yeah.
probably see you as a prick or something like that.
Yeah. Or maybe they say, okay, well, he was a good father, he was a good grandfather, but you've never helped them deal with their own conflict
You see,
because you've never dealt with your own.
mm, which is the true parenting, isn't it?
Mhm.
That
Showing
you-
the way.
Yeah,
Mm.
right?
So that's how serious this whole business is. You can't live
Jeez,
for
man.
yourself.
What will wake us up, man? What will wake us up?
I
And
think
to see.
not being part of the problem is a very good start. Seeing the danger that you actually are
Yeah.
to yourself and everyone
Yeah,
keeps you grounded a little bit.
isn't it?
Yeah, well, you've cleaned up a big mess
Yeah.
already. It's a good start.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
And that's a self job. You can't.
Yeah, it's a subject no one can teach
No
you
one
that.
can teach you that.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
saying, you can live up to 80 without,
Yeah,
fixing it.
yeah. And we can talk about this forever, but you have to diligently,
Yeah.
see it. There's a lady who was talking yesterday, and she commented. She's very interesting. It seems like she's serious. She wants to discover about all this thing. And she's read also a great deal of things. She knows all sort of people.
Uh-huh.
She's always referencing people. This said this,
Yeah, it's good.
the whole second-hand nature of
Yes.
things, like we all are.
Yes.
I mean, I'm the representation of years and years of language, of communication, of
Absolutely.
DNA.
Absolutely.
I can't
Separate
separate
from
myself from that.
No.
I am humanity.
Correct.
Yeah.
As it unfolds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember she said, what we were talking about, I'm not sure what she was referring to, but she said, and then what? We're talking about awareness
Mm.
and thought. So there's a guy who's dividing the whole of it. So I was trying to show her how tricky thought is in itself. But then I said, you are both. Yeah. Awareness and thought is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no. It's just thought could be an extension of that and so
Mm.
on.
Mm.
And she says, okay, so is that my awareness projecting on the blank screen of emptiness? She put it in a very complicated way.
Yeah.
Or am I both?
Mm.
So I'll try to. And then she said, and then what? So you see, that's someone who's really serious.
Mm. Yeah.
But she's
Yeah.
serious without being serious, because she says, so she's not satisfied. She says, and then what? So
Yeah.
suppose this is true. And then what?
Mm.
Which means what? She's not seeing it. It's a
She's
theory.
going to continue
Yeah.
to seek.
It's a theory.
Yes.
She's not seeing it.
Yes.
So I tell her, stay with that. You don't know.
Mm.
Why is it so hard to stay
to
with
say
it?
I
Stay
don't
with
know.
the boredom of that, the excitement of that.
Yes, but it's not easy, man,
It's not,
for especially someone who's burdened with knowledge and
Mm.
things.
But we all
It's,
are.
yeah.
I mean, I can talk about it like this. I mean, see what's happening here is us intelligently running away.
It's true.
Because at the end of the day, we have to communicate it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's the whole movement of life. It's the running away from it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's important how long you stay with the fact. It's staying with the fact. Seeing it once you've seen it all.
Right?
Mm.
Right?
Mm. And to answer her question, and then what? She wants proof.
Like, what did you see? Show
If
me.
I see that, then what?
Yeah.
But see it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's-
see it. If you see it, you can't. You won't tell me.
But
about
maybe
it.
she's got a valid question. If you
No,
think
it's a
about it.
valid question.
Yeah. You know.
It's a very serious question.
So what is the answer to it? Is there an answer to
The answer is
what?
the question.
Yes.
The asking.
Yeah.
It's you. Why are you asking?
Yeah.
See, even asking that is still the question. See,
Mm.
so you're not staying with the emptiness long enough to see that your answer is that.
Yes.
Your question is your
It's
answer.
answer.
Yeah. So you see, when you see that, or then you see that's when you feel powerless.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like when you can't not have answers.
Mm.
You have to have the answers.
You feel powerless. So then you
Mhm.
seek control. You seek
Yeah.
understanding. You
that's-
seek,
Mm.
and so on. And that reflects everywhere. Yeah,
Mm.
it's the whole of our life.
Mm. Mm.
The last time I had my friend here, Pakiso,
Mm.
very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Spoke. I remember I told you last time how knowledgeable he is and how
Yeah.
conflicting it
Yes.
puts
yes.
him.
Yes.
But he's calm enough, quiet enough to know how powerless he is.
Okay.
Which means he's seen it. You can't
Yeah.
know how powerless you are
Yeah.
if you haven't hit that wall.
And yes, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. And you become humble. You know?
Then I think I might have asked him, so then what are we trying to do?
Uh.
Even he doesn't know. He says
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to help people, you know. And it's also a very tricky life.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you're playing with time like that, you're playing with the whole of life,
Yeah.
it's you can lose yourself.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
But I feel people have to lose themselves in order for them to find themselves. You know.
You need contrast.
Mm.
But the question is, why? What's the need for losing oneself? You know what I mean?
Because
in
what
the
you have
end,
is garbage. You are garbage.
really,
You are an approximation. Or actually, you aren't.
right?
Yeah. It's like asking what's the use of drinking water. Water has to be drank.
Right?
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, it's like, yes, it's important to have contrast, obviously, to then see the futility of certain things. But, you know, can you not just be born like that baby and then remain like that until you die?
I think babies are born like that.
So let's remain that way, you know? Or can we not change the conditioning in such a way that it then renders us that way? And perhaps we need to, you know, go back down to prehistoric. How did they do it? I mean, with what was achieved back then.
No, you see, this dates long before civilization. It isn't a human thing, as far as I can see. It isn't a human thing. It isn't a living organism thing. Because a human is an organization of life.
Yes.
It's the whole of life. So it isn't we can't blame anyone.
No.
Yeah. And there isn't a period where it's time itself.
Yes.
Hence why I'm saying in a prison, the best you can do is see order. And perhaps by seeing order you can, you know, you get away.
You get away. Or you really slice through life like a hot butter knife, as it were. Meaning, it doesn't mean that it's not hard sometimes, but you
that's part of it. I mean, the hard side is, I don't mind the thing.
Yes. But you wouldn't mind a thing if you are, you know, centered or full when, you know.
Yeah, if you are Anchored.
Correct.
Yeah.
You wouldn't mind. Meaning,
What is that to mind?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is so vast. It's so. That's why I find it very hard to judge.
Yes.
Although I'm
Yes.
my own nature is judgmental.
Yes.
As a human being,
Yes.
you're supposed to separate and.
Yes.
But with the anchor, that's useless. I mean, it's some sort of game you're playing with yourself.
Correct.
But
Correct.
the whole thing is so vast, so diverse, so alive that everything has to happen.
Yes.
Even
Inevitably.
the most delusional things.
That's I don't know. It's very not nice to.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Yeah, it's not nice.
It's
You
really.
feel like
Oh,
you
it's
have nothing.
you can't comprehend why.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
if you
even.
look, you can comprehend if you look at someone being delusional or
Okay.
or
Yes.
abusing himself
Yes.
or others.
Yes.
You would know if you anchored. You would know he isn't doing it because he's evil.
Yes. It's because he's
The
lost.
escape, any escape is good.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mm.
Right.
Guys, I was talking to a guy. I have back home. We have some sort of war that's been going on for years,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
and it's a tribal thing. Generally find guys that are see when where Africa was sliced in pieces.
Yeah.
So we found that some tribes were sliced in pieces as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So when they were sliced, some cousins were here, some other cousins
Okay.
were
It's
there.
like yeah.
And now today, the rest of the country is saying, "Why you not us? You're supposed to be on the other side
Yeah.
where you have people that look like you." Then the guy said, "Okay, so then how am I gonna go there?" And that's all I know.
Yes.
I've been here before even these slices
Yes.
came.
Yes. Yes.
So I have a couple of cousins that are really deep in it, in the rebellion and the war.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their daily life of killing
Yeah.
and being killed, being killed. So I
Yeah.
was talking to one of them, and he's very angry,
Yeah.
explaining how people can be so evil.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about people eating others,
Yes.
like cannibalism, and
Yeah.
because of that anger, that evil.
Yeah.
And explains to me the whole thing. And then I grew up. Luckily enough, I moved in the capital.
Okay. Yeah.
Running away from all that war.
Yeah.
And then there, I made other friends, people that are now called brothers.
Yes.
Literally families. They're my cousins as much as those
Yeah.
are my cousins.
Yeah.
But it's the same people that are killing those cousins.
This-
So I talked to them as well, and some of them explained to me, like, how can you be like that? How can you be a rebel? You're killing people, you're letting people use you to get
Yeah.
the minerals and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And then I hear him, I'm like, yeah, that's the point. So everyone makes sense
Yes.
in their own,
Yes.
their own
Yes. Circumstances. Or
limitations and-
yeah. Yeah.
And probably, I think very few people know how broad the thing is, but I mean, you don't have the time to think about these things when you're running for your life. You
Yeah.
have to
It's-
act. So.
It's
So probably everyone thinks that they're right.
well, that is a fact, I
Yeah.
suspect.
Yeah.
And maybe they are right.
Yeah, they are. Man.
They are right. Yeah.
Because
If
I
you-
mean, it's so complex. Even running a country, it's in itself is very complex.
Really?
The politics, the
Yes.
money involved in it, all those things.
Mm.
You have to betray. You have to put this and that. and
Correct.
to protect yourself, you have to keep the people, which means you
Correct.
put others aside. They will fight you. It's so complex.
Mm.
But everyone in their heart, believe that they're right,
Yes.
and they want to be convinced that they're right. So.
Yeah.
For instance, when you find people that get killed somewhere, so everyone takes that picture, say, "Oh, look, this is a massacre. They've killed my people."
Yes.
And then what the others do, they take the same picture, and then they just change the date. They say, "Well, these people are lying. This happened 40 years ago. By them, they were killing their own brothers and so on." If you're serious enough, you can probably see through that lie.
Yes. Yes.
But you don't want to be proven wrong because
Mm.
it hurts seeing yourself for who you are,
for who
seeing
you
the
are.
truth.
Right?
Yeah, not the ultimate truth. Just
No,
truth
just
itself.
truth as
Yeah.
it is. Right?
It's very challenging.
Huh.
So I wonder if there's a way out of this. If the society can be at least orderly to a certain level.
Yeah, but you keep saying it can be because it's part of the entire movement, right? Meaning
I don't
we
know.
need the
I don't know
contract.
if it can or it can't be. I'm not sure. As far as we are concerned, in our organization,
It's yeah.
I don't know. I have doubts. But I mean, suppose those two parties. Suppose one of the guys, say my cousin and my brother, really sees this, go through this. Wouldn't they notice that none of them is right?
Yes, actually.
Why would there be any fighting?
No, it will stop instantly.
Instant. So they have a common enemy that they don't want to face.
Yeah.
Which is themselves.
Ne?
Mm.
And they're not even aware of.
Yeah, and they don't even have the time. I mean,
it's too busy. Yeah, it's too busy.
Bullets are flying around.
So, in your instance, right?
Yeah.
When you played back, do you think you would have been able to divorce, from that stream? If you know
I think
what I
it
mean?
was inevitable. If it is happening, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I suspect perhaps seeing through this, you've already abandoned. There's no
going back.
There's no going back. Once it happened, it doesn't matter how many times it happens, you've already gotten out. It's hard to.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive. Okay, let's look at it. It brings back to time, like last time. Because time is repetition.
Yes. Yes.
There can't be time without repetition. The past, for there to be time, the past, you can't exclude the past from time.
Yes.
So time is repetition.
Yes.
When you've gotten out of time, when you've seen through time, there's no
going back into
repetition anymore. You are above the repetition in a way. You see, that's why I say this thing is very. We can talk about it, but you must see it. Because if you see it in your day-to-day life through small glimpses of that. Not partially, don't become a pastor.
You see, that's what I'm struggling with, that, if you've seen it partially, and it is it not countering what you are saying? Because in that example, they've seen it partially, right?
Which means they haven't seen it really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say you've seen it, it means you've seen it, not partially, there's no partial seeing, it's a full seeing or nothing at all. Yeah, then it makes sense. Because in my interpretation, I was thinking, but the pastors, they've seen, so, or they know.
Yeah, they know.
But in the knowing, and they then stepping in and out. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know how.
Or are they not even in?
I think one day we should, in our group discussion, it would be good if we bring in a pastor.
I think you should.
A very good artist, people, or psychologist.
Yes.
Well, that would be very interesting.
I think so.
Yeah, I would look, but those guys are very tricky.
No. But I think
psychologists, you have a degree, you have to defend a certain image, and if you come across there, you look like you don't know what you're talking about. No one is coming to you.
Oh, my business is finished.
I'm not only killing you, but I'm killing your money, your pocket as well.
All of
that.
But
I think there should be. I believe there's some serious guys, as psychologists, people that are willing to put everything on the table. Like, let me risk it all. I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah, it would be great. I think maybe do that.
I found that.
Because this is a good question for me, insight in saying, And I'm saying this experientially to say, in the understanding, you can't know this and then do the other, you know, and be. If you look what's happening in the whole structure there, you know what the abuse and everything else that is there, and obviously isolated and all of that. But you would say there are, you know, those who have seen the truth, and maybe they are unknowingly stepping in and out.
That's changing a little bit. There's again, when I was visiting my cousin there, the father was telling me that back home now people are changing the religion, because back home we have very religious people.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So they're changing the whole, some of them are taking a different approach.
Yeah.
So according to them, you know, there's no way you can get to paradise. There's nothing you can do about it. It's the grace of God. You can be as good as you want or as bad as you want. It's the grace of God. So it seems something is going on there. For him to come up with that.
Yes. It's like surrendering all of this.
Yeah. Probably they figure that, look, I mean, when that partial thing happens, I can do everything.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen. It comes on its own.
It does.
Even when I drink alcohol.
It's true, you know?
Yeah. So probably they're caught in time. Time is abusing them. I feel like it's a gradual thing.
No, but you get my question, and I think you answered in saying that understanding is partial. It's not whole, because if like I say, you know, you can't do this and then be evil or, you know, have drinks. Meaning, from order comes order. Right?
You know, when we say order is very odd. Order is very orderly. You know, if let's say that word order, people have a very fancy idea of order, of good things happening, of I'm only gonna do good things.
Okay.
But order is seeing what is actually there, what is happening.
Correct.
Your own bitterness, your own. Don't hide it.
Yes.
Don't
see it as
turn
it is.
a blind eye to it. Like, look at it. When you don't know, I don't know. Don't repeat scriptures or equations.
Yes.
You really don't know.
If you really don't know,
And that's order. You don't know. You're finding out.
Yes.
So most people pretend. I mean, all of us will pretend to some extent.
Yeah.
You don't realize it because maybe you see it's not a big deal. But every other day you're pretending. You are lying. So a man who comes and thinks is different. So we are not different from any other person. So that is order. Seeing what you are, how you're doing it.
Yes.
And then realizing that's what's happening with every other person.
And then
there's unity in that.
Yes.
Even rationally, you can literally predict what will happen, what this person will do, you know, how he's feeling.
Yes.
And in that, there's some sort of compassion, you know.
Completely.
He's stuck like I am, and he's pretending like he's not stuck.
Yes.
So that order, that is pure order.
Yes.
Limited order, but it is order.
Yes.
And then it opens up the other order. Not project what should be happening. See what is happening.
And stay with what is happening.
So, the courage, though, to be with it, to be with the silence, because you can only see order through silence.
Yes. And you said the last time that, you know, suffering is part of really, you know, reaching that.
Yeah.
Because when you're running away.
Suffering.
Yes.
Yeah. It's hell.
Yes, hell. You have to really go to the depth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the fears, you need to go and face them and
you face them
and see them for what is the origin of it, and go to the root and meet that.
So
That
the way I look
takes
at
courage.
suffering is very, it's a big element of this life.
Yeah.
I feel like there's universal suffering,
Yeah.
not just human suffering.
Uh-uh.
I mean, animals are also suffering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trees to some extent, the planet. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole. But there's universal suffering,
Right.
universal sorrow.
But why is human sorrow more?
No, it comes from there.
Huh?
It comes from universal sorrow.
Yes.
Just.
No, I understand. What I'm saying is, in the universal sorrow, humans suffer the most.
No.
No?
No, I don't
Because
think
there's,
so.
really, yeah?
So how humans suffer more than who?
More than any other form, as it were. Because we
Well,
interpret
probably
things.
Thought, yes,
Yeah.
thoughts adds an
Add
extra
some
suffering.
spice.
Yeah.
While you are.
realize the suffering has become aware of itself. And it doesn't know
And
what
it
to
goes
do with
the other way.
itself.
It's
Yeah.
true. Whereas, the others, they say, okay, suffering, let's stay with it, and it's past.
Yeah, them or animals, their memory isn't as great as. I mean,
Yeah.
I find some animals that are actually very good with memories. So the thought
Right.
process should be active as well, like elephants
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of control adds an extra suffering, which
Yeah.
reflects the universal suffering. When I say
Yeah.
universal, it isn't things. It's the
It's
suffering of.
Everything.
Suffering is a living thing.
Mm.
It's part of the
It's like
creation.
a season,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's part of it is created. Yeah. There's no human suffering.
It's
suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no it's suffering. Suffering is there. It's like there's no
Suffering for
South
specific
African
people,
water.
yeah.
there's water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
So suffering is there.
Yeah.
Perhaps I don't know if it would be interesting to see the source of the universal suffering.
Well, I think it would be.
Mm.
It would be because we are all in it,
Yeah.
And at the moment, I think we are more focused on the human suffering.
Yeah, we're more focused on
But when you then step back and look at the entire
structure.
Yeah.
There's the suffering.
See, and in the examples that we're giving, that perhaps we suffer the most because we've got the thinking tools and all of that. It will be part of the understanding. What is the source of the entire, suffering? Because the animals, they don't have the memory.
Yeah, they have a different, very physical suffering. Yeah.
And that ends there.
Yeah, this thoughts doesn't. It's like kids.
Yeah.
They have a very. The innocence doesn't allow them to suffer too much. They forget
Their
too fast.
suffering is very, very short-lived.
They fight with each other today, tomorrow
Tomorrow
when they
even.
meet, not even tomorrow, the second after they're sharing chocolate, it's not a big deal. But me, I know this man, who does he think he is? He thought,
Why is that? Do we become better with our thought processes as we grow older? Because
we sharpen it.
Right?
Yeah, and we have to, because it gives. See, okay, and I think that's why maybe we try to run away from the universal suffering. So, our thought process thought is trying to run away from the suffering,
Yes.
the universal suffering, by structuring it,
Okay.
protecting itself.
Yeah.
So if I build walls,
Security.
security is
Yeah.
there. If I build a science or whatever, security is there. If I build a belief,
Yeah.
an organization,
And then you get attached to that.
Yeah, then you get attached to that. But
To break that,
yeah.
it
But
becomes
the
another
suffering of the world is so heavy that you don't realize the thought itself comes from that. So,
Right.
so it will break through every thought. It breaks down.
Yeah.
It can't hold.
It can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, so that's the universal suffering. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
It is there. And maybe there's a layer down there which is can I say not being there is too much, it's too heavy.
Yeah, that's a bit too heavy.
Like emptiness is,
yeah.
It's almost as if loneliness,
Uh-huh.
the loneliness of the whole thing itself.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Is it
let's use our
loneliness or the
thoughts. Let's narrow it
aloneness?
down.
Yeah. Mm.
See, the thing is itself.
Mm.
It is.
It's present. It is unfolding.
Yeah, it is unfolding. Okay, but before then, let's use the common description: God.
Uh-huh.
God is tremendously alone. He's alone.
Yes. Yes.
Let's use the example of religions for
Yes.
the creation.
Yes. Yes. I think
as
it's
they see
easy.
it.
Yeah. Right.
Why is he creating?
Yeah.
What is he running away from? Is it the boredom? The loneliness?
Yeah. Right.
So
What's
I
the
feel
point
that,
of all of it?
There's a reason.
Mm.
It's too. I don't like using those examples. It sounds too stupid because we're making it human.
Yes.
But I think it's giving a hint. The loneliness of being, just being alone is too heavy.
It's too heavy.
So that's universal suffering. Being, that no movement. It has to run away from it. It has to. It's too heavy, so it creates movements away from that.
Okay.
So anything, of course, coming out of that will have some sorrow in it.
Okay. Oh. Inevitably.
Yeah, inevitably.
But then that is a story of humanity.
Yeah, we wander around in darkness forever.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Search, find.
Can be in a very dark room and you imagine beautiful colors, but it's darkness.
Right?
Yeah. Which is a mirror of the
actual.
The actual thing. So in that there's creation. I mean, there's no limits to this thing. Everything has its place.
Yes.
The sorrow, the whole thing has its place in it. So seeing the entirety of the thing brings out the beauty of
creation.
Yeah, seeing order of the creation itself. It's beautiful.
It is.
There isn't an ugly phenomenon.
Everything has its own place.
As ugly as it looks.
Yeah.
As
it's like a tiger eating a impala.
Yeah, great order in it. The volcano coming out of there.
It's the same movement.
Yeah, I mean, you use diamonds. I don't know if diamonds, but it's like organic matter, organic stuff that get compressed so bad.
Yeah.
They become fuel. And then we create lights. We say, oh, what a beautiful light. But it's death.
Isn't it?
It's a reflection of death. You can't have one without the other.
You can't have one without the other. It's the same movement. It's just
but we want to impose our own.
Just on the one.
Yeah.
And it's not possible.
It's not.
And when the other comes, we run away or we...
No, we can't even touch it. There's no contact because we're doing everything against that.
Yeah.
We're narrowing it down.
Right?
So it can't come. I mean, how is it gonna... So what I'm saying, perhaps seeing through this, yeah, you can't do the other.
Mm-mm.
And things might happen, you call them circumstances, and I was lucky, and then I got this understanding. But it's always been there.
Right.
Perhaps you are just, as part of the order, you had to go through some processes. And
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Jenny, and so you can't really choose and say, I want to.
No, you can't. It's the grace of God, like the pastor was saying.
Right?
You can't choose, you can't. It will come to you, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think since that is so mysterious, we create our own mysteries.
Yes.
That's why we have a good man, a good woman has at least to have one secret or another.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be as stupid as it is, but there's always that thing that you keep to yourself until maybe you share it, but then you have to replace it with something else. You share it because you want the mystery, at least you create your own.
Yes, yeah. Corner. Right?
Yeah. And then when the other one finds you, say, well, what a betrayal. You've done this. But, the person is trying to, it's probably doing what you're doing.
That's
to
true.
Some extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the mystery should leave it alone.
I suspect so.
Yeah, leave it alone.
I suspect
it will
so.
be there because you can't do anything to get to it.
No.
It will be there. But if you're serious, life has a different meaning.
Completely.
Mm-hmm.
Completely. Completely. And you feel that way in your experience,
Yeah.
in the meaning that it has.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you navigate it easier.
It's understandable. It's easier. It's understandable.
Yes, everything has its own.
It's beautiful.
Place. Yes, there's lots of compassion. There's all of that, which is godly.
Most of the time, you're acting with compassion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like yesterday. I was at work. We had a problem with our gate, so I went to a security guy because I left my Uber right at the door.
Yeah.
So I tell him, look, the gate is not working. My fingerprint isn't working. Please, can you help me? So I went to the big gate.
Yeah.
And the big gate is where the cars are passing by. So I got there before anyone else. Like, please help me out, or I can just use this big gate. And I go, I'm rushing, I'm late. And he's like, wait 1 second, because he saw a nice car coming.
Yeah.
A nice car with someone who looks like he has a lot of money. So he put me on the side. I'm not, but I was really rushing.
Yeah.
So.
And evidently you were.
Thoughts started building up.
Can you imagine?
So, okay, then I said, okay, fine. So he puts me on the side, talk to the guy, and then all that. So I tell him, look, man, I'm really late. It isn't my fault that I'm here. Your gate isn't working. I pay my rent.
Yeah.
So I have to go.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, you just wait. Just like that, with no
explanation.
No explanation.
Because your car is not there.
And then the guy driving right there also says, "Why you just wait, man! Don't disturb me. I'm rushing." I'm like, I'm also rushing. But anyway, I decided, okay, it's fine. So he calls one of his partners. Says, "Okay, help this man." So now what he has to do, he has to go and open manually. I go there, and he's really dragging his feet. Because he feels like this man was trying to rush us. We show him that we are the masters of the doors. So those are normal day-to-day things that happen.
Yes.
And it builds up some thought process.
Yes.
You see how you the negligence behind the whole thing.
Yes.
The lack of consideration.
Yes.
That has to stir up things.
Yes.
So it started building up. He gets there and then he figures he got the wrong key. So now he has to drag his feet back again and then come back. So when he leaves, I'm really angry by it.
I can imagine now. Yeah.
Now I'm thinking of even this man, I'm going to report him.
Yeah.
Why am I paying the rent? Why are we paying this rent for? I really don't like it.
Yeah.
So, but then a second, out of nowhere, just the looking started happening, the listening.
The
very listening of it made me laugh.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you see the...
Yeah.
Right.
The very listening of it made me laugh, and it kind of opens a window to how order will be,
Right?
Yeah. And that window is very, very clear. The first contact with the order comes as thought.
Right?
Look at it.
And you push.
And then there was a clear understanding of what's about to happen, how it happened, and so on. Even on the other side.
Yes. So, in the example that you are giving, compared to the young boys that are playing, I mean, they would same experience, right? And then register, but a few minutes later,
There you go. It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, there's a.
But we can't as older.
Because thought becomes heavy. So the kids aren't really too. I don't know. I'm not a specialist, but I doubt the thought process is heavy enough for them to have
carry
to look
over
at
and
thoughts.
carry over.
Yeah. So there's a listening and a looking. When he sees the kid again, he's looking at the kid. He's looking at
it drops
the toy
that.
there.
Yeah.
That is happening.
Yeah.
So with me, it started with the looking within, which brought me back to the looking out.
Right.
And I just looked at the man. I had nothing else but compassion. Like it's just, I know what is going on. Yeah.
And then you returned back into compassion and just laughed at it.
Laughed at it, and there's order that comes from there.
Yes. Wow, that's big, man. That's
So
like
there's an
alchemy. That's like, you really are turning things into,
Yeah, there seems to be an anchor that shows you order. Now
so it's from what you're saying, it's necessary to get lost, but it is important to know when you're lost and then get back. Yeah. Right?
The suffering
is
there. Gives you enough energy
to again, to saying, do you still know yourself?
The suffering becomes heavy, too heavy. Not because you see, running away from the suffering. To me, at that moment, I could have easily run away from the suffering by saying, "He has to be punished." So tomorrow, when I come
back, it's true. It's true, and you carry that memory into the next day.
Which is not bad. You could do that. Get someone fired. You keep some sort of order. But on the bigger scheme of things, there's no much order that you've brought there.
No, it's the same.
Yeah, so later on when I was leaving the office, the guy was really, really apologetic. He put me on the side just to apologize for how he behaved. So after leaving him, he was tortured. He was being tortured by his own action.
So now look at this now, right? In how kind you were to yourself. You could have also tortured yourself in keeping that memory throughout until he comes back to you and say, "I'm sorry." Or maybe when he comes back to you and say, "I'm sorry," you haven't dropped that. You're still. I'm still going to report you.
Report, no. And then you go there maybe, and then what if the management doesn't act the way you want? You have a problem with the management.
Then
you have to find
escalates. And before you know it, it's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime. I mean, that's how war starts. War starts a simple argument. I could take your wife.
Yes.
And then we make it a USA versus Russia. It's as simple as that.
Bigger scale, just bigger scale. Now you've got bigger, armaments and instruments to destroy the other.
Yeah. So I think it just puts order. That's one order. It's I would say it's rational order, really. It's kind of like coming. I don't know if you've noticed, if you watch sport, football or basketball, but I watch basketball. There's one guy I really like, Steph Curry. The guy is not only is a good player, but he knows how to focus, how to lose himself sometimes. And in his explanation, at some point, he just sits down and just listens to his own, conflict within the game.
Within the game, isn't it?
And then he loses himself completely. And the very second he does that, he takes the game over. The whole thing, he starts doing things he only realizes when he's done it, when he's rewatching the game. How amazing it is. So I think that's something that everyone can do. Probably that's why there's so much fuss about the whole meditation.
That's true.
Your breathing.
True.
Focusing on what's happening. So to me, it's rational order. Anyone can do that. But there seems to be another order linked to creation itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what we said last time? That generally opens up through sleep.
Okay. Yeah.
But during the day as well.
It's there.
Yeah, exactly like that.
It's in the silence.
Yeah, in the silence. You stay with the silence. You see, the tricky part is you can't decide to stay in the silence. The decision is the noise.
The decision is the noise.
If you try to train to be in the silence, like people do the breathing,
looking,
fighting to stay there.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, you're
I get you.
interfering.
I get you.
But when it comes almost as if it's coming out of nowhere, it brings all the order there is. And there's some residue which shows us thought.
Okay.
Thoughts during the day, not thoughts as dreams. Thoughts during the day. And then, as you move on,
Okay. Huh. So, in the night, you are not there interfering with silence.
Yeah. Put aside dreams.
Besides
silence
dreams,
is all there is.
Yes. So, do dreams then disturb your silence, or?
Yeah, the dreams. It seems like dreams which are thought are like projection of that silence. The creation process, you're seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're not interfering too much, because you can see, but then if you start interpreting, because you see, when it's happening, there's a point where you listen to yourself interpreting.
Okay.
You are interpreting what is happening within the dream. Like we do most of the days.
Yes.
You're always interpreting.
Yes.
As you're walking, you say, this is a door, I'm going to open it. My phone, you hear a phone ringing.
Okay.
Not even just the noise. I mean, you see this phone here. Say I tell you to grab it, to lift it up. You already interpret how lifting up feels like.
Okay.
Just by looking at it. There's an interpretation of what's about to come.
Then you don't bring a shovel.
Yeah.
To pick it up.
Yeah, you are projecting the whole feeling of it. So you are recalling how it feels like.
Yes.
So it seems like thought is always, it's a bit delayed. It's always behind.
But does it have a purpose, though?
Yeah, without that, there's no movement.
There's no movement. There's no creation.
Yeah, that's the first contact, it seems.
Yes, but now how do you then hold it in its right place,
You can't hold it. Holding it is thought. Is thinking.
So just allow it to come and go.
Yeah. You can't even allow. You can't allow it, you can't.
So what do you
can't
do?
not
Just
allow
observe?
it. Yeah, you lose yourself. You silence.
Yeah.
But
in the day, what do you do?
Most of the time, making noise, thinking.
So
from moment to moment, it comes on its own.
Okay.
Yeah, from moment to moment, just anything. I mean, you can look at out of nowhere, just the realization of the immensity of what is this thing. Right. That realization comes through the silence. It's almost as if you had your eyes closed for a second.
But how do you then, as a layperson, tap into the silence in the day, as it,
I think
because you've got so much, there's so much going on.
I think focus on the noise, not the silence.
Right.
Most people don't know that I'm always making noise. They're always interpreting that. For instance, before I even touch this bottle, I know how it feels like.
Yes.
That's thought. You can even feel it in your fingers because you have memory of the feeling. So you're always making noise.
Yeah.
You're never in touch with what's happening. So we are limited on this level. That's our limit. Thought. But in silence, it is you don't know. So as a layman, you focus on the noise. Realize that you are making noise all the time. And that you can't do anything to stop the noise. So the seeing of the noise is the listening.
Then the mayhem stops.
Yeah, mayhem stops.
Right?
Yeah, and but they don't get attached to it. Don't try to maintain it.
That's where I'm going, because you see, where I'm going is when you know order, you want to keep order.
Yeah.
So you're saying no, don't keep
wanting desire. Desire is very dangerous. Yeah.
So allow just be, because
there's no this whole thing of will. I don't know, free will. I don't see any freedom in will, in desire. I mean, why do you desire at all? It's because of something. Can you desire something that you don't know?
No.
So it's the past. It's the past telling you what to desire, which means you are not free from the past. So desire is a very dangerous thing.
So, hey man, this is too heavy.
It is, yeah.
Because I mean, in all of this, you are trying to understand what is the purpose of being here. You know, meaning, can one just, in understanding silence, because in silence is everything, right? Can you just remain there? Or maybe let's say by force or by practice, like in the meditation practice.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people get that glimpse of.
Yeah, they do.
You know,
people train. There's some people that train this thing, so they're very serious. Huh?
Yeah.
Some of them go and hide in caves.
Yes.
For years.
That's where I was going. Or what happens in that case where you then. Let's assume that person who goes in the cave, they really train their mind that they are empty. There's no trickle of. Is that even possible? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Meaning you are there in the cave, but you are still with all your baggage from.
Well, to me, if you train long enough, you will understand that training is useless.
Okay.
And then that silence inevitably will be there.
Yeah.
But I don't really like to encourage that, because what's the point? The whole point of the whole thing is to live, organize ourselves.
Yeah.
Life, the diversity of life. You are here, but you are always projecting where you have to be.
Okay, I see.
So it's some sort of disorder in a way, the way I look at it. Stay with your brothers.
Nah.
Yeah.
But now, how do you stay with your brothers and understand or maximize your contact with silence? Does it make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah?
See, the silence, seeing it, you don't have to see it twice or 3 times or 4 times.
Just once.
Or 1 minute or whatever. You've seen it.
Right.
There's a path now where there's the whole flowing happening.
So is that path part of what you were explaining in your experience with that guy in the Uber and the gate?
Yeah, it comes to you. You don't. It wasn't a daily.
But now, why did you then?
Because the suffering, the conflict within myself.
Okay, you knew you. Okay, the suffering
inevitably
is
like
you're not going the right way.
Like you won't accept to be hurt.
oh, but if you don't know, if you're sleeping,
Yeah.
you'll just go into the head.
Yeah, you go into the
Like,
head.
let's just go for it. This
No
is how it
stop.
should go.
Yeah, because suffering is
Oh,
eternal.
wow, man. You know, I'm walking away with a lot here. That, you know, in the last session,
Mm.
I understood eternity fully,
Yeah.
you know. And then now you are,
Maybe being more practical.
and you're saying, you know, suffering is eternal also,
Yeah.
you know.
There's nothing that isn't eternal.
Yeah.
I mean, even pleasure is eternal.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's eternal.
Mm.
Pain is eternal.
Mm. All you have to do is to make sure that you know which button you are pressing in your life experiences,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And if you're pressing a button of silence, you're cruising nicely.
So having touched silence,
Mm.
silence seems to be all. That's your anchor. It's pulling you back.
It's yeah. It becomes first nature.
Yeah.
That's the meaning.
You
You
are
respond
operating-
from there.
Yeah, you're operating from another dimension.
So
called-
you're getting lost. Is the same as that of the young boy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's
It's
very,
beautiful even being lost. In that
isn't it?
sense, yeah.
Because you laugh at yourself, isn't it? Right?
It's beautiful getting lost.
It's, yeah. You see the comicness of it. Like,
The whole thing is a joke. It's a beautiful
It's-
joke. I mean, look at two people arguing.
Yeah.
Two people arguing.
yeah.
They invested in it.
Of
But
course.
you from outside, like,
It's
what's
just
the
like
point?
what's the point?
Yeah.
When you're seeing it, it's like, but you wouldn't really pierce through their argument because they
No,
would
you
be
come with
firm
the-
and say, you know, I
You want
know
to
it.
stop
like,
people fighting, they beat you up.
You will be the point of.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is quite interesting.
You know, those guys that go and train,
Yeah.
I think they're approaching this whole thing, the wrong way. It's very, this thing is very dangerous.
In
Not
what
only
way?
in that you can, I feel like if you stop halfway, you can get lost because, there's no, how can I put it? Say you see silence, creation,
Mm.
which is eternity.
Mm.
The whole structure of this is malleable. You can play around with it as much as you can play with time. I mean, time becomes your playground.
Isn't it?
Right?
Yes. That I understand, but
Yeah.
the other I don't understand.
Which one?
The playing with the frontier
yeah.
of creation.
You know,
In, in the time I understand that, once you step into silence at any time, you are able to break the cycle, same as where you were at, right? The entire experience happened, and then silence came at the end. So, can silence not come in the middle of the experience?
yeah. There's in the middle. In what way?
In your example,
Mm.
there's so many pointers that came. I mean, he went,
Yeah.
doing all of that, and you are sitting there, and then you're talking to yourself inside. It's like,
Yeah.
this guy, right?
Yeah.
So,
Probably it was already there,
mm,
but from. I was still fighting it to some extent. I mean, I could have completely lost it when that
When?
guy, the one in the car, spoke to me. Because then I felt like he felt
now
privileged.
yeah,
I could have lost it there. Or I could have lost it any other time before.
yeah,
But it kind of like I was fighting it,
Yeah.
so it was, I was building up resistance.
yeah.
And then at some point, the silence becomes dominant.
Dominant.
It completely alleviates the suffering.
Yes,
So it's almost as if my suffering wasn't high enough.
right.
Yeah, so when the
Okay,
suffering
that's why it
becomes-
prolongs.
Yeah, it prolongs and
So can you then refine your your suffering barometer? Because it sounds like that's what really is the trick in how you navigate through life. You know, if your suffering parameter is very, very alert, then you mute things easier. Like, again, going back to this example, is that you could have taken that to your meeting and back again.
Yeah.
Right? But, you know, your silence was there to say, now I think we must drop it here.
Yeah.
And you could listen.
Yeah, you could listen to yourself.
Yes. And then it drops. I can't remember where I was going with my...
I was saying this thing becomes malleable.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So in that instance, I mean, the incident is real. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? That you are...
Yeah, from not from here, from the silence, because you see, silence is the gathering of all there is. There's no center anymore.
Yeah, so you're bringing everything to you and say, all right.
Yeah, the entirety of thing is happening.
Yes.
Moving away from that is when you create division, centers, which is what we see.
Yes.
Which is what we see out here. So now, suppose you get away from the division. You have the entirety of energy.
Right.
So creation, it's almost as if you hold creation in your hand.
You are part of creation. You've said this before, and you know.
So moving, you can dictate without knowing. You can create great misery here because you have access. You've tapped into that, which is why I'm saying don't stop halfway. Because you can gather some energy and then you bring this order here, but if you have compassion, you can't play around with it. For example, those guys that train.
Okay, I see what you mean. So there's nothing to create when you're in creation.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to, doesn't have to. You will.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. You keep order here in what you are creating.
Right.
Yeah. So, for example, you see those guys, some of them train enough. They do some really, really, things that are called supernatural. So in that, it start feeding again themselves. Me, I can do this.
Okay, yes.
So it's like it's an unwritten rule of the mystery has to be kept. Like you don't have to talk, you have to show. Perhaps you can do it just for the fun of it, here and there, but it mustn't be your...
Yeah.
Brennan, how long we've got there?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it already 2 hours? That was fast. Can we use the 10 minutes?
If you're quick about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with this, but I was pointing at the danger of this. You see, as you're doing this, inevitably you will... That's why I say the whole meaning of life changes.
Yeah.
Things aren't as solid as we think they are.
No. Okay, so that's...
Not through thoughts. I mean, through thoughts I can modify this. I can make it maybe a square. But I'm talking about creation, that this has always been squared. So you can tap into that naturally. As you're seeing creation, as you're part of it, and so on. But don't go and create misery.
Right.
Yeah.
But you see, that's what we've been saying, that would you create misery if you are in compassion? No.
That's why I said compassion is the source of everything. It's the... It is at the base. Compassion seems like it is creation,
Yeah.
How can I put it?
Actually, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how to put it.
The same as love, isn't it?
Yeah, compassion is love.
Yeah.
It's understanding everything that is going on.
Correct.
So in understanding it, someone suffering, for example, because generally you feel people are suffering because they're being hurt, but people that are hurting are really suffering. So understanding them is helping them get away from the hurt.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Seeing the other.
Mm.
That's what you're showing them.
Yeah, it's like
They
giving them
probably don't
compassion.
have a contrast to
Yes.
to the suffering.
Yeah.
So by being there, then
It's
they
like a scared cat, like
Yeah.
a street cat.
yeah,
You give it
love.
love,
Yeah,
it becomes very nice.
Isn't
Before
it?
it starts scratching,
yeah,
but once it has been given enough love,
yeah.
it knows what love is.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Wow, that's deep.
yeah.
Uh,
So that's just an example, a physical example, but
yeah,
on that level too, I think stopping halfway is where every other thing is, but compassion is
it's
going
the
all
whole-
the way
it's
to
the
the
whole.
end.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like everything. And
So don't
there's
stop.
freedom. There's everything.
There's
so
freedom,
then
there's-
there's
Mm.
you don't have to look at your back. It's just
No,
right.
it's true. So you mustn't stop halfway, because if you start with training, forcing, you've started the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah. What are you trying to achieve?
Mm.
You have you're looking for power. That's the
Right,
source
right,
of the search of
right.
power.
Right. So the intention
And probably
is
it's gonna that thing will reject you every time.
right.
We are approaching it with arrogance.
Right.
Yeah. So one thing you can do when you get alone, perhaps,
Mm.
as you're looking within yourself and looking out, just look at let's say, a wall without moving too much. Don't move your eye, don't force it.
Mm.
Just look at it, not too much blinking, just look at it as the whole movement of
Mm.
looking inside and
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
at it. The whole, you will understand the entirety of this thing. That's why I'm saying it's malleable.
And there's nothing else to move away from. As soon as
Mm.
you know, step into that.
Hmm. So I think, I don't know if you saw something, but today, but thanks a lot for coming, my brother. It's a pleasure. Last time I was with Pakiso,
Yeah.
went on, I didn't have much time to discuss with him afterward, but I'm trying to see what we can do with this,
Yeah.
and the danger of this thing itself.
Yes.
Because the idea at first was to create a space where you can encourage people to see what is going on.
Yes.
And the idea is to be completely free.
Mm.
As you're looking at that,
Yes.
inevitably freedom comes.
Yes.
But it's dangerous,
Mhm.
very, very. I don't think there's something more dangerous than this.
Mm.
Not only because you can lose yourself, but if you capture just half of this, then you really become a monster,
Yes.
a real one.
Yes. Yes.
You can do things that,
Yes.
it's very complicated.
Yes.
But the idea was to really just bring freedom.
Yes.
And we would have space like this, we're
Yeah.
talking, we share. Then people can go ahead and find out
decide
for
what-
themselves
yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
As we're doing this, probably we are the biggest danger,
Mm.
because our own thoughts will come into it.
Yeah.
We can easily turn into a cult.
Mm.
You
Mm.
can turn into a money-making machine.
Mm. Mm.
Or you can create some sort of power in it, like an authority, like this is the guy you have to look at,
Yes. Mm.
which is completely false.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm sort of discovering as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But that's the idea, which is why I wanted to have a group discussion next time to
Mm.
the few people that I've had the chance to talk to,
Mm.
and then we look how we could do this. Like
Yes.
maintain this, and then just let it run.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, not only it's very enjoyable doing this, but it's the most important thing,
Yes.
right? So which
Yeah.
is why I'm putting my time
Yes.
and the money that I have, I'm putting it in.
Yeah.
But I know how dangerous I can be
Yeah.
to the whole
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
So we should try our very best not to involve money.
Yes.
Money in the sense of if money ever comes in, money doesn't come in so someone can get a say in it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't try to replicate what we have, like ownership and structure. If someone, let's say for example, if someone's going to put the money in it, he mustn't put the money because he wants to help.
No. Yeah.
You must really, it must be some sort of interview, like, why are you doing this?
Yes.
What's the point?
Yeah. Yes.
Because you see, if people gather around this with the right anchor, everything will be orderly.
Correct.
But if you just come because you want to be part of something and you want to give money and help, like, you know, because maybe you want to hide your own wickedness, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm still thinking about it. Perhaps you guys can help me find out next time when we see it.
Yeah.
But the idea really is to have not an authority, not a center, like a guy whose everything is revolving around, but the thing itself to be free.
Correct.
So, for instance, when we're talking, it isn't that I'm showing a way. You can have a moderator, someone who says, okay, this is what's happening. Like, but at the end of the day, truth itself must tell us where we should be going.
Correct.
Yeah, and then help someone out there.
Yes.
So thank you very much for coming. Hopefully you'll be part of the next session when everyone is around.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's always been a pleasure being here, and I look forward to your more sessions, and I hope that a lot of people get something out of these discussions, you know. And in agreement with you, there's quite a lot, I think, that people can get. So let's gather and let it really just be, as you said in the last discussion, a mirror for people to reflect and see things as they are.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. But
well,
yes,
that's their choice. Yeah.
yes,
they're
but
free.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But thank you for this invitation once again. You know,
It's a pleasure. It was long.
Felt short again.
This one was very short.
Yeah.
But thanks a lot for the guest as well.
Yes.
It's sad she's always in the in the back, but maybe next time she'll be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, for being with us.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
And I hope you got something out of this.
Yes.
So thank you. Brandon, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Lovely.